Michael, might have not been the game that you guys were hoping to put on, but 1-1 draw, tough first half, but you guys sort of grew into the second half. What were your thoughts overall on the performance?
Yeah, overall, I think we did start a little bit sleepy. A lot of the things that we planned on doing, we just didn't execute. Whether it was for lack of understanding or probably more likely just a lack of willingness to do. I'm not sure. The guys did really really well as we gave them some tactical adjustments, but at the beginning we just looked a little bit sleepy and. I thought that they responded really well after the first 15, 20 minutes. We gave them a couple adjustments, and they were willing to do it, and it helped. We got a little bit more pressure on their back too, and it avoided them to play that long switch into the wide players, which was giving us troubles. And from there, I thought we slowly moved into the game and started to take over.
And we saw what the team is capable of in the two-match series against Tigres, and Vanny was talking about there was a real electric atmosphere going into this match. What do you think happened with all of that going into this game for the team to sort of start off a little slow again?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fans were amazing. It was the biggest record of fans in I guess in any home opener. So we got to thank them. I think the atmosphere was great. I don't think it was anything to do with the atmosphere that didn't get us going. I think in general it was just we just looked a little bit sleepy, and we need a little bit of time to get into the game.
Undefeated as head coach, should Vanny be looking over his shoulder at all?
I don't think so.
I'm curious. Vanny had some really nice things to say about Ryan Raposo yesterday. What was your assessment of his game today?
Yeah, I thought he did well. I thought he was able to get more into the game when we were able to get more pressure on the ball. I think that's when it all started for us, and it became a game where those types of players could get into it. Because when Brian Demir and Galdi were able to put more pressure on the back two, it was now allowing people like Raposo and Shopfy on the other side to get a little bit higher. When we won the ball back, they were able to do the things that they're meant to do, and it helped him. I thought he did really well today. He's asked to play two different positions, basically. As you know, the tactical identity he's playing as a fullback and as a wingback, and I thought he did well.
Was there something that changed tactically with the pressure, or was that just more decision making by the players on the field?
No, it was something we identified. I know it's never easy for attacking players to always put pressure on the ball because there's always space that's left behind them. But at the end of the day, they took on the tactical information we gave them, and it really changed the game.
You talked about starting a little bit sleepy. Charlotte having one MLS match already under their belts, does that kind of help them coming into this game?
I think in hindsight it does. This is the first time we've played a game of this type of intensity since Tigres. And, you can try to replicate that as much as you want, but preseason friendlies are never quite the same. So, I think that's, I can't say for sure, but that definitely could be something, yeah.
Raposo kind of gets the goal of last play of the first half. How much easier did that make halftime for you?
I think we would have came in with the exact same ideas. I mean, nothing really would have changed in terms of the advice or the feedback we wanted to give the players at halftime. We knew what we needed to change. We knew what we wanted to try and adjust, but it definitely gave me a little bit a feeling of we were back in the game a little bit more. And I think as a player, it's always in the back of your mind when you're losing. Maybe you get a little bit more anxious. Maybe you get a little bit more. You do the things that maybe you're not meant to do because you're thinking about that. But I think that also relieved a little bit of pressure on them, and that's really important.
Brian and Ryan seem to kind of struggle to find a bit of a rhythm particularly in the first half. Do you think it's a case of teams targeting them and trying to shut them down just because of their potency last year?
It can be. I mean, obviously, everyone in the league knows about those two guys. And, whenever we do our scouting reports on other teams, we're always looking at specific players, and I'm sure they're doing the exact same thing. I wouldn't believe it'd be any different. But I don't think that was the reason today. I think it was more just the fact that we struggled to win the ball up in higher positions, and we were always kind of playing on the back foot a little bit. And once they were able to get on the front foot, it also changed everything in behind and allowed us to win the ball in higher areas. And from there, that's where they do their magic.
Michael, how did you kind of feel about the first goal that Charlotte scored, where they kind of catch you a bit out wide in their press, and then 2 passes later was in your net?
Yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. I mean, at the end of the day, we'd like to take it back, but it happens. If you're going to build up in that shape and have your fullbacks wide, it's going to be tough for them to recover if we give the ball away in bad areas. So, we gave the ball away and we did our best to try and get back in shape, but it's always going to be difficult to cover ground, and they were able to kind of sneak the ball in between us and get in behind and get to the ball first and put it in the back of the net. So it's one of those things that sometimes you have to give up if you're going to build with a bit more of, if we build 2 center backs and 2 fullbacks, it just shows the importance of trying not to give the ball away in those areas.
To that point, I guess Charlotte obviously were clogging up the middle a lot with that 4-2-3-1 defensive shape. What do you kind of make of how they were able to kind of clog those central areas?
Yeah, another one of the things that we talked about was the fact that we were going to the fullbacks too early in our opinion, because every time we went to the fullback, that was kind of their trigger, and they were putting pressure on with Tavares and Vargas, and then Copetti and I don't know his name very well, but Desjaguers were kind of keeping it to one side, and that's what we recognized early. We wanted a little bit more pass between Ranko and Tristan, and getting Yohei involved, because for those two, it's really difficult to get back and forth and back and forth, and once you stretch them a little bit more and be a little bit more patient, we had success. But at the beginning, I agree with you. They were able to kind of trigger us to one side and try and keep us there.
Yeah, Coach Ali Ahmed came on in the second half. How did you see his game, and how did he change the game once he was on?
Yeah, I mean, Ali's a player that can take on guys 1v1. He's obviously very dynamic with the ball and does a really good job off the ball. I mean, that's the first time he's played for us now, after coming off their injury. So I thought he did really well when he came on, and hopefully we can continue to see more from him.
Was today kind of the blueprint of what you want to see going forward? Obviously over the full 90 minutes, but you got the sense that in midfield he right away tried to put his stamp on the game.
Yeah, I mean, when he came in, he made an impact, that's for sure. And I think everyone that came in also did the same. I think we've learned the lesson of making sure that we get as close to a good 90 minutes as we can, because in this league, every game's difficult. And if you don't play 90 minutes well, then you're going to have a tough time. But I do think Ali made a great impact, and I think all the rest of the subs did as well.
Javan Brown sort of got into some positions wide when he was playing some crosses, and he hit them low and hard, but he did create a lot of problems when he did that. Is that something that we should expect from him over the course of the season, once he's in that position, that he's going to try and cause problems with low, hard crosses in those areas?
Yeah, we definitely want him in those positions. We're going to want our fullbacks to be joining the attack quite often, and whether it's early or late, we still want them to join in as much as possible. I think the low hard cross that you mentioned, at times we talked to him at halftime, like those are great when you're in behind the back line, but if you're not in behind the back line, we need to try and beat the first man and give ourselves a chance for the attackers that are in behind that first guy to get their head on it or get a touch. But especially in the second half, I thought he got in behind a few times and really, he's a powerful, strong player and created a lot for us, just using that strength and power and also his tactical awareness to get in behind. So I thought he did really well.